This is Doug Vahrenberg, staff writer with anglingauthority.com, and today we're going to put on our new Minn Kota Talons. We got the new 10-foot Minn Kota Talons in. I'm going to show you how simple and easy it is to install these shallow water anchors on your boat. First thing we're going to need to do is get our Talons out of the box, get it out of the way, get the jack plate adapter. We'll grab the tools, we'll get it put on the Atlas jack plate here. It's very simple and easy. You can do it yourself. Just requires a few little tools. If you can handle a wrench or a socket and a ratchet, drill a hole in a boat, and we will get these things on, and we're going to hit the water, and I'm going to show you how awesome these new Talons are. They've changed a lot of things on them, and it's pretty awesome what they've done. Always recommend to read the instructions. First thing we need to do is we're going to have to mount our new jackplate bracket. Serial number on your brackets right here. This piece is going to install right here on the sliding on the Atlas jackplate. Just bolt through here. You've got 2 1/2 inch by 2 1/2. Got 4 big thick washers, 2 1/2 inch nuts. That's going to require a 3/4 inch ratchet and a wrench to put them on together to put your jack plate bolts on. And what you want to do is put a big washer on one of these bolts. Have a washer and a nut ready. Look at your jack plate bracket here, and on this one you can use the top hole. And before we put it on, there's some special little stuff. Comes in this tube. It's an anti-seize compound. You put it on, and it'll make putting the bolts on a lot easier. Grab your other bolt and washer and nut. Next thing we need to do is tighten these up. Okay, we're going to finish tightening up the bolts here. And get them tight as you can. That's on there solid now. The next piece will be the midsection. It's just going to slide over. You want it parallel with the transom. The transom of the boat, you want this parallel with it. So when you put your Talons on, they're parallel here to give you the best holding action. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our long bolts here. Put a big thick washer on it and a nut. Anti-seize. And I'm going to tighten them up in just a little bit. We're going to put our other bracket on here. And you're going to need the same thing on it. Anti-seize again. That anti-seize is a big key to make this a whole lot easier. Make it easier to. You want to make sure all these are tightened to at least 50 foot-pounds. Okay, got our bracket on. Next step is to put our Talons. We're running a 10-foot black beauties this year. We're going to put the black Talons on. But first, we're going to put the tilt bracket. We've got the tilt bracket. that is going to go in between so we can lower it, like if we need to get in our garage. Just push this down and that's going to tilt. So we're going to need to install that first. We got two thicknesses of washers. We got thick ones and thin ones. You separate them out. Okay, the thick washers are going to go to the outside. The thin washer is going to go on the head of the bolt. The head of the bolt always goes inside, so we need to put a thin washer on each bolt. Put the thick washer and a nut on the back side. So, bolt, thin washer, big washer, lock washer, and then nut. Can go on the inside like this. Our NICs again. And nut. Just want to mount this temporarily. Okay, the best thing that I've found is to kind of match this outside edge. Flat up and down, we're going to tighten this stuff up. We have our tilt bracket on. Pretty simple to do that. Next thing, our step is to put our Talon bracket on our Talon. The next step, we need to take these 4 screws off the top because we're going to put our kickstand on. Just to pull that off. Once we get the top off, we're going to put our support stand. You're going to have a holder and you're going to actually have the support stand itself. You need to install this on the port side of the Talon. You slide that one on, you loosen it up, slide it on. Next thing, once we get the stand holder, is our actual kickstand. And the easiest thing to do is push this center in. You want the nut inside and the washer outside. That in, and then we're going to put our top back on. These got plenty of anti-seize, so it's good and snug. Next step after we get that done, we need to take our bracket out. Talon out of the bracket. And I'll just lay this down here. Because we need to install our bracket onto our Talon, or onto the bracket. You can install it either way, whichever way the adjustment. We're going to have to take these out and adjust it, but like that. So bolt, washer, thick washer, lock washer, nut on the outside. That. That. Thick washer, lock, anti-seize. Put your little glob on there. and repeat for all 3 bolts. And a 1/2 inch wrench and a 1/2 inch socket. Tighten them up. And just finish snugging them all up. Well, good and tight. Good thing every once in a while to periodically check all these to make sure that they don't come loose. Next we need to change the aperture of this so that back that's a 9/16 on these. You want these both in the same number of holes. I got 1, 2, 3. I'm in the 4th hole on this boat. It's going to vary by your boat where straight up and down is, but it's a good place to start. Get them close. And we are just about done to go Talon down. Next thing to do is slide it on here. You'll have a stop bolt on this other side to keep it from going too far. Now I'm looking at it. We're cocked a little bit this way, so what I want to do is take it off, turn one more hole, get it more straight up and down. So, Talon off. Actually, I just learned something. Ding, 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 ding. These got bolts in them this year. All you have to do is take the bolt out, swing it forward. We don't have to take as much stuff apart. They made it a lot easier to adjust these things. Just gonna have to take the lower bolt out. That side in, that side in, and slide it down. Now we're sitting pretty straight. Next thing to do is check on the skeeter. I run them pretty close to the bottom of the transom. Just makes it a lot easier. Keep water from deflecting and everything. Take a check at that. And she's about perfect. No adjustment. Tighten all the hardware down. 9/16 wrench here. Make sure it's good and tight. Rock solid. Leg. Talon is down. Ain't them black suckers beautiful? Pull that down, lock it in. Next step is to put the splash guard on. This just keeps water from running up underneath here. That's the rigging part of this. Next thing to do is put the hook the wiring up. Next thing we're going to install is the quick release disconnect on the power cable to make it easier to go in into the boat, or if we want to take the Talons off anytime, we can just unconnect the quick disconnect. I've got one open here, got all the parts. Got my power cable run. I like to run it through the bracket so it isn't loose and can catch on a snag. What you need to do is measure where you're going to go into the boat. found out that I can run both of my wires in through an existing access hole, and I'm not going to have to drill a hole in the boat. So give yourself a little bit of extra room here, and with a good pair of wire cutters, snip it. Then what you'll want to do is, in the connector, you're going to have one that's got pins, one that's got females. The female is going to be on the boat side because you have a cap that goes on it. This side is going to be our boat side, or the Talon side with the pins in it. So next thing we need to do is grab our Talon here, power cable, and I had already had it nice and pretty. And we're going to strip back the wire. Okay, next thing we're going to do is strip this back about an inch. Right there between the R. Take a good utility knife. Strip all that back. Get your 3 wires here. You can cut these tags off excess. Get that, and you got your 3 wires. You got your black, white, and green here. Next, you want to strip these about 1/4 inch. Now I've got our 3 wires stripped. Okay, this is the order you need to put it in. You need to do your cable nut first. Then you want your clamping ring with the gasket. You want your gasket, cable nut, the end with here, the O-ring end into the cable. So I slide all them in. Then you're going to connect to the connector. Whoop. Got this clamping ring. Then we're going to connect to the connector. We're going to go number 1. We're going to hook our white wire into it. In there. Black is going to go in number 2. Make sure they're good and firm in these connections. Now we've got our wires connected. Next is to screw this connector . And then we need to do the other side, same way. Okay, the next step is to hook the boat side to the wiring harness. We'll need to put our nut, and then the gasket with the rubber side towards the nut. Slide it on there. Then the sleeve. Then we'll need to connect the wires and connect them together. Make sure you don't cross thread anything. You can get them snapped in good. Snap in there, tighten those connections. Next thing is to bring your tighten it. closed good and tight there. Next step is to bring the gasket and sleeve up. Get it in there, seated in there. Make sure that you do not cross thread. And I use just a little bit of encouragement from a trusty old metric crescent wrench. Need to tighten this, but be very careful. You need to go till this cap is gone, just like that. Don't want to over tighten it. There you go. And be very careful with the tool. Did you see how it swells that? That keeps it watertight on that end. And then you'll need to repeat that on the other end. When you have that in, then you can disconnect. It's a quick disconnect. That end's going to stay with that. Comes with a cap. Slide this over this end. And that'll make a watertight connection. Now we can pull our slack in for our cables, and we're going to hook up to the boat. The final step is to hook up your power wires. Just hook them up to the battery, hook the negative up. This is going to be your black wire. The white wire is going to go to the breaker switch. I've actually ran it underneath here. We've got a master breaker switch. I hooked the positive on the back of the master breaker switch, ran the negative over to my battery. Now when I shut the power off, the Talons will be off. Next thing is, Talons each come with 2 remote controls. Gotta have 2 remotes. You can get one with the key fob or the cords on each one, or there is a little bracket here that comes with the Talon too that will allow you to snap the Talon remote into place. You can place this on your boat if you want to raise or lower the Talons. Oh, that's our right one. Now if I want to learn that remote to this unit here, you're going to press and hold the up button. You'll hear that audible alarm. Push up once, and now it's synced to this Talon. Now it is actually synced to both Talons since this one worked on that one. They do make an optional dual remote. Allows you to do a left and a right. I've synced it to this Talon here, but the other Talon it has not. The buttons don't work. Just need to do the same thing on it. Sync this a dual remote. We've got our left side, which is working over there, but it's not working on this side. So you push and hold this up button. We're going to raise it first. Hold the up button. Push the up button on the remote, and now it's synced. Wow, listen to how much quieter that motor is. They have reduced the noise tremendously with the new motor that is down lower. This is a 10-footer. You look how short it is. It's almost to the top of the motor. The final step is to install our the Talon Footswitch. You just screw it down to the deck up here. You're going to have a 2-button foot switch. Snaps in like that. You can do left, right, but we need to sync it. So the next thing we need to do is sync it. Since this is our left one, we're going to hit the mode button. Get the left on. We'll hit power up. Now, 2 taps, Talons down. Talons up. Now I'm going to run over and do the right one real quick. Now I'm right back. We got that synced up. So if you want to do both of them, that's left, right, both. Got to sync it. One of the little tricks of the foot thing. Now both of them have gone down. Want them both up, hit the foot switch, and both of them will come back home. I hope that helped you learn a little bit about installing the new Minn Kota Talon. You can drop them both down with the foot switch, the lanyard one, the double lanyard, the single lanyard. You're going to get two with it. Foot switch is an option, dual remote's an option, but these suckers have helped me so much. If you've never fished with a Talon, you need to try it. One will get you started, but once you use one, you'll love two. One of the things I like, a tip that I do, is with the double remote, raise one unit, and with it going straight down, you can pivot around in a circle with your Minn Kota trolling motor. You can fan cast a flat, you can fish beds. There's a lot of uses for these things. Tying on baits, if you catch a fish, you can stop the boat, the wind ain't gonna blow you. They're an awesome tool, and they're simple and easy to install. You can do it. I appreciate you tuning in to Angling Authority and learning more about the Minn Kota Talon product. Check them out at your local Minn Kota dealer and get one for your boat.